Everybody, unless you wanted me to wait, Regan.
No, that's fine. I was
Okay.
just gonna ask if Daphne's ready to go if Bronwyn's not here
Nope.
yet.
Let's go ahead and get started then. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our joint study session with the Equity, Cultural, and Social Justice Commission. Just as general information, this study session is an informal meeting involving discussion between and among the City Council, commissioners, and city staff regarding policy issues. The study session may involve presentations, feedback, brainstorming regarding further work to be done by the staff on key policy matters. And this City Council special meeting is being held telephonically and virtually in compliance with state, executive, and legislative actions responding to the COVID-19 emergency. With that, we'll call this study session to order. And let's do a roll call. And for the ease of Krista, I will just have everybody introduce themselves. And I'll start in my upper left. Manny?
Good morning. I'm still at work. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mani Dami. I am part of the ECSJ Commission. Very nice to meet those if I haven't, but yeah, glad to be here.
Thank you, Mani. Jennifer?
Expecting to be so quickly. I'm Jennifer Harjahausen. I am a council member and thrilled to have our first joint meeting with you all.
Chuck? You're on mute, sir.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. I'm Chuck Ijadi, and I will be starting off for Bronwyn as we get to go forward. They've asked me to fill in, at least to read the mission statement, but please go on with the introductions.
Thank you, Chuck. Joe?
Hi, I'm Joseph Simomo. I am on the council. This is going to be fun having our first joint meeting together, guys. Looking forward to this.
Thank you, Joe. Sean?
Hello, everyone. My name is Sean Smith. I'm on the council as well. I, too, am looking forward to tonight's meeting, learning more about your goals and mission statement and vision. So, yeah, look forward to it.
Thank you, Sean. Christina?
Hi, folks. Christina Zoltis here, one of the council members, and I'm super thrilled again, just like Jen. There's so many of you on this commission, and I just cannot wait to hear and see where we go from here.
Thank you, Christina. Alex?
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm on the ECSJ Commission. Looking forward to our discussion.
Thank you, Alex. Daphne?
Daphne Hernandez, Assistant Planner and Staff Liaison for the City of Covington.
Thank you, Daphne. Leslie?
Good evening, Council and Mayor. It is my pleasure to be here tonight. Leslie Amata. In this capacity, I'm serving as a member of this committee, and this has been an envision kind of since our Human Services Master Plan to add diversity to it that I was a part of, so I'm continuing the work.
Thank you, Leslie. Beth?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Porter, council member. It's great to see you all and get a chance to chat as a group and find out what you all have been up to. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Beth. David?
Good evening. David Scalabrini. I'm also a member of the ECSJ Commission and looking forward to working not only with the commission, but also with the council on what we can do for our community.
Thank you, David. Kevin?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kevin Doan, and it's nice to see everybody's faces here today. Looking forward to chatting with you all.
Thank you, Kevin. Fern?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Fernando. I'm a member of the commission and excited to be here.
Thank you, Fernando. Jared?
Hi, Jared Kokel, council member. Just excited to see so many familiar faces again.
Thank you. Krista?
Krista Bates, City of Covington, Executive Assistant and Deputy City Clerk.
Thank you, Krista. Regan, bring it home.
Oh, that's quite a charge there. Regan Boley, City Manager. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Thank you, Regan. And I am your Mayor, Jeff Wagner, and I am so thrilled to be finally meeting as a joint session with each and every one of you. So I look forward to hearing what you have. And we'll move right into items for discussion. And the first item is the commission mission statement. And I'll turn that over to Chuck. And you're still on mute, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I didn't want my dogs to be joining us this evening, so that's why I have been keeping it on mute. After, I guess our second or third meeting, we finally called down and learned a lot about each other, as well as discussed what the goals should be and what our mission statement should sound like. And we've decided our mission statement should be to empower a community of diversity, equity, fairness, inclusion, and respect for all. The commission will advise the City Council in creating avenues for actionable changes in policies and services. Short, sweet, and to the point. We've laid out a number of goals to promote the mission statement of equity, culture, and social justice, to celebrate with an equity lens the integration of diversity and multiculturalism of our community through a variety of avenues, to facilitate a dialogue between the community through open discussions and identify common objectives, and to serve as a liaison between the community and the City Council. With that, I am going to turn it over to Manny and Leslie, who are going to talk about promotion.
Thank you, Chuck. Marnie?
Good evening again. So one of our goals, like Chuck had said, we have 4 goals. One of the goals, the main goal, is actually to promote the mission statement of ECSJ. And I think this is very vital, given that we haven't had something like this or to this capacity, right, in the city. And so, putting visibility out there that we exist. I mean, I know folks know we exist, may or may not everybody goes on the city council meetings and or knows about the website or whatever. So via this goal, we're trying to see how can we promote so our citizens understand that we're here, but we're here in the capacity as liaisons, sort of like we are their voice to bring their concerns, to bring whatever it is that they need to bring to a bigger, the council, pretty much. And so we're looking forward to working on, and I know we'll later on work on sort of steps we want to take, for the action items, rather, the little interventions we can do, I guess, is how to promote, so then we're visible, but how to promote that, within our council, folks feel comfortable reaching out to us and saying, this is a concern, or this is what the city needs. Ms. Amara, would you like to add?
Well, just to thank you. And your expertise in this area has been so valuable. I just want to say on the promote part is, I'm not actually sure that a lot of people even know this committee exists. And I think that's probably the first tax is before you start, doing all this stuff, you want people to know who you are and who they can contact and how they can contact you. And that can be, I can't tell you how many times I've sat in my congregation and told people what we do in emergency assistance, and somebody will come up to me and say, oh, I didn't know we were doing that for 10 years. They heard it the 10th time or the 20th time or whatever. So we can always over promote. And I think not only are we promoting, but I think this says a lot by our city just by developing this committee, being proactive and trying to get ahead of this. I've seen measures in Covington that were done just by instinctively walking with people who were on, had some Black Lives Matters issue. Our mayor and our sheriff went out and walked with them. in their march. And those kind of things tell me a lot about our city that we're in. But I think in promoting, it would be important for us to get the word out to our citizens so they realize we can be a vehicle for communication. And sometimes people feel they have no voice, but they first have to know where to go to get that voice. And I think trying to give some visibility to this committee in some kind of action is kind of what we need to do to kind of like kick it off or something like that. And people feel comfortable to come to our meetings and testify. It isn't about us, it's about what our community members see is lacking or what they want to see going forward too, which will help us develop actions and going forth as a committee. But the committee here has got a lot of different voices, and it's been exciting because it was just kind of interesting for me to join this committee and see who was on it and all the conversations and how we're gelling together and how we had our ups and downs. But promoting this committee has to be foremost an intention. It can't just be, we've now checked the box. We have to now do something with the box.
Absolutely. And if I can just add something that you said, Ms. Amara, you said, we want to promote this and not just as, like a checkbox. And that's what we don't want is, the city developed this and so yeah, we're done. The work is never done, right? We're evolving, our city is evolving. I think personally, we all evolve with this. And so will always be working, right, to promote. And another thing I just wanted to say, when it comes to promotion, it's, who are we the voice of, right? And so, and that's going to take us some time to figure out like how to promote, because I'm just sitting here thinking and conceptualizing this for myself. English is not my first language, it's my third language, right? And so coming from a background like my parents, they wouldn't know how to reach out if they needed to talk about issues or what have you. So not just linguistics, but socioeconomic status of people. Do people know how to use the internet, the digital world, right? And or disabilities, right? So like promotion is, when we talk about promotion, it is reaching the masses, and that may take us some time to figure out how we're going to reach the masses. And we'll talk more about the survey and the online stuff later, but just wanted to throw that out, that promotion is for, all.
And I think too, to piggyback on that is a lot of times it might take us going to people where they are at instead of asking them to come to us, because sometimes that's very uncomfortable or it's not been ingrained in perhaps the way they've dealt with things. So trying to find the pockets where we can go to them to draw them out is going to be an important part of this committee too. I think that's about all I have to say tonight on that. I could go on. But
Thank you. So I guess before we go to the next goal, can I go back to the mission statement and see if any of the commissioners or council members have anything they'd like to add to that or questions about the mission statement? I love this mission statement. I think it really delivers a good message, but that's just my opinion. I want to hear if council has any questions or if any of the commissioners have anything they'd like to add to that. And before I get to that, I see that Ira has joined us. Ira, if you'd like to introduce yourself. We all introduced ourselves already, so.
Hello, my name is Ira Thomas, and what would you guys want to know about me? I missed the beginning, sorry.
We were just introducing ourselves for the record so that Krista had it. So,
right,
and you were on the Equity, Cultural, and Social Justice Commission. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you joining us tonight as well. So going back to the mission statement, do any council members have any questions, or does any of the commissioners have anything they want to add to how they came up with that, or any questions they have?
I really like the word empower. I think that that's a really great way to start out the mission statement, and the mission statement as a whole is great, but just to out of the gate empower is great.
Thanks, Jennifer. Beth, you're on mute, ma'am.
Oh, sorry. Thanks. I would echo what Councilmember Howard-Hausen said. I mean, the empowering is really huge. I do have a question was there any element of inclusion for like physical disability in that? Was that a lens that was looked at, and maybe religion and all the elements? Great. Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. Yep.
Thank you, Beth.
If
Go ahead, Monty.
if I could just add, absolutely, right? So inclusion is diversity of all, whether it's, again, we were talking about digital, this and that everything. I do want to echo something that we had all discussed, was this actionable changes. And I think that spoke to at least me a lot when we were coming up with this as, what are we here doing, right? So like, we want change, but we can talk about change via just posting messages on Facebook and or just saying, hey, we're with you, right? But it's different when you actually make changes to whether it's policies or systematic things or what have you, where people can see, yeah, like in the last 10 years or in the last XYZ, we have changed, right? So whether they're benchmarks or whatever, I think the actionable item speaks to me most, is that we're here to create change and not just say, once again, checkbook, because we have it, we're the best city there is.
Thank you. Sean.
Yeah, so Monty, that was exactly what I was just going to mention, that I think this is an opportunity to create a commission, and I appreciate the mission statement and the goals. So again, an opportunity to create something that can directly input information to the council on how we can better include these goals and these values into the things we do every day, from the ordinances we pass, but also to the events that we run, that sort of thing. So I really do appreciate that, and encourage the commission to stay true to that part of the mission. So thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Anybody else? Well, thank you for that. I really like this mission statement. It really delivers a very good message. It's very well thought out. And I too agree with that word, empower. Is your whole team did a good job with that. So Manny, do we want to go on to all the goals, or we want to discuss each one individually?
It's absolutely up to you. I think our plan was to go over each.
Okay. So thank you. So going with the first goal of what Monty and Leslie brought up, to promote the mission statement of equity, cultural, and social justice. Does council members have any questions, or do any of the commissioners have anything they'd like to add? Christina.
Hi, everyone. I really appreciate several perspectives that I heard today, specifically about this goal. It's true. It's true. As Mani said, this is her third language. My parents barely speak Ukrainian or English still. So to reach out, you have to go to those who may not be able to come to you. One thing we know for sure is everybody eats and everybody shops for food. I think that's one of the easiest and probably most successful intersections where we can cross people. I'm more than willing to volunteer for that. I've always said I kind of feel like 2020 stole a year from mingling and having that just the one-on-one with our residents. So I really do appreciate that you have that perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Anybody else? Well, I like the idea of promotion. I've been promoting this commission to all the other cities that I speak to, because everybody wants to hear what we're doing. And the fact that it's just getting off the ground. I know it's been going, you guys have been working together for what, 6.5 months now. So I love that you've gotten your mission and goals already set up. So that's outstanding. Seeing nobody else raise their hand, I will turn it back over to you. Whoever's talking about the second goal. Is that you, Monty, or?
No, that'll be Ira and Ashley.
Ira and Ashley. Ira?
Hello. So As a committee, we're good. I believe that we're a good representation of multiculturalism in our community. And I think we're just a glimpse into the goals that we have to unite our community and celebrate and the celebration of unity, as all of us are Americans. This committee is made up of many different backgrounds, cultures, religions, ethnicities, languages. So I believe that it's all of our goal to seek to create pride in our community and in our country and within our fellow citizens in the city of Covington, to be an example of what it means to be inclusive of all people with no regard to the things that divide us as a people, but to celebrate the idea of what I believe is the greatest land, that is the representation to the world of people loving others. I believe that's what America is. It is already multicultural in itself. It is a representation of that. We are working hard to create avenues that will give birth to the opportunity for celebration of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all Americans. And I believe let us as one people for every country on earth, so that they can look upon our existence in this country. I think we should look upon our existence in this country as a multicultural diversity and inclusive of all. And in saying that, I will do my part as part of the committee to seek out organizations and community members who are looking to help to build what I believe is the greatest country that never was. We never had the opportunity to become what America was supposed to be. So today, let's look upon the symbol of multiculturalism and the American flag and be proud as an American to be the symbol of diversity and multiculturalism and inclusion to the world. This is what the founding fathers laid that blueprint for, and what people like Martin Luther King died for. So today, let us forge a community that sees no color, religion, gender, or bias to others, because being an American means just that. That all citizens of the land look different, but live the same in peace, tolerance, and love for the sanctity of freedom and life. So let the celebration begin. That is my talk on it, and I believe that is what we will try to accomplish, is bringing people together and in oneness.
Perfect. Thank you, Ira. And I don't see Ashley online yet. So is there anybody else that wants to add to that? I always love a good celebration.
Mayor Wagner.
Yes, Leslie.
Just to, the word equity lens is been defined for me for the last couple of years, and it's something that really was not in my vocabulary to go to. So it's getting it into everybody's vocabulary to understand what equity lens is and how to work with that, and how to take, the way my biases may tell me to look at something and look at from a more equitable position. And I think in this committee, if we can draw out everyone to disabled, people of different orientation, different races, creeds, religions, and everything, and bring them to the table without any barriers. And that, again, is going to where they're at. That's providing perhaps transportation if they needed to get to something, or a vehicle for transportation, like we can be on Zoom here. We don't have to have a car. We don't have to have a bus, but we can get online here and talk. Those are all things that I think that an equity lens brings. And of course, my heart is with the littles, and let's bring them into the picture so all our littles can have, a starting place, that if they didn't start at the same finish line, or start at the start line right off, they will finish the finish line with the same ability to succeed and grow and thrive. That's my love, my kids, all these kids in this community.
Thank you, Leslie. Bonnie.
I was just going to add, Ms. Amata just talked about the equity lens, and we also want to look at the equity lens as, just like we said, meeting people where they're at. So though we want to celebrate, we also need to see how people celebrate, because, it's not about just let's do a Hawaiian dance for API month and call it a day. So I think it is understanding our community, and some members, like Ms. Amata said, their celebration is having those barriers, those obstacles, so they can join certain things. And some of us Indian people, we like to have AAPI month where we feed people and have food, right? So like understanding and that celebration may need or may what's the word I'm looking for, mean different to different people. And that's exactly what equity is. It's not cookie cutter. It's how we meet folks where they are at.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add or any questions? Beth.
Yeah, just a quick question. Have you all noticed in your either personal experience or on this journey, are there any I would say culturally specific groups or that are already doing like celebrating certain cultures or certain, and is there a way to incorporate that and them into the journey, like maybe at the schools or something like that? I know that I think there's some there, but
Well, I'm just going to speak because, of course, the schools have been having, well, they did have until we had COVID, and that changed everything, but they were having multicultural nights, and I participated in that at the high schools and the elementary schools, and they brought in food and projects and all that. But I think one of the things is an inventory, which would be good to have, far beyond just the things that we kind of can pick up and say, this is going on, but to find out a lot of that should be, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but would be a goal of this committee to actually get a list of all the things that are already going on. So we don't reinvent the wheel, but maybe we can join in that wheel and even make it better and fuller. So that's just some of my thoughts.
Thank you, Leslie. Monty.
With my work with the VA, I was a program manager for the Asia American Pacific Islander program through the EEO office. And one of the big things was we do API month where we do more of the celebrations, but also more of workforce just development of our employees, where we talk about how to, professionally get ahead of the game, if you will, right? So whether it's education or what have you. I was also part of the Native American Veterans Council, where our big thing is land acknowledgement. So I think it does depend on, what we're celebrating and how that community and group would like to celebrate, instead of us just either putting out statements and or just assuming everybody wants a big celebration. So I think it speaks to what Ms. Amata is saying, is like knowing sort of your customers, your base, and working with agencies, right? Like we don't have to do this, the 13, 14 of us or the council. It's reaching out to organizations from different backgrounds or what have you. We were approached when I was the chair of the commission about a citizen who wanted to come into our commission and talk about Pride Month, and just having, all he wanted to do was have banners or have flags up. Unfortunately, the person didn't show, so we had no idea. But so again, meeting people where they're at with the equity and seeing like what do people want, instead of once again just us imposing things on people as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Really do appreciate the, need to lower my hand. The way this goal and kind of some of the goals are being framed. I think it really does start with a place of inclusion and trying to recognize and empower and welcome everyone. So that it feels like the commission's getting off to a really good start. And I would also encourage you, Leslie, and I think some others had mentioned about, seeing where people are and also seeing what's out there already with the resources. So I would encourage you to be opportunistic and be entrepreneurs, and really, if things are going well and say school's already got a program, if there are things we can learn from them and copy and bring to Covington, I would encourage you to do that. So I think it's really good that you're thinking that way and realizing that all of us on this call and in this meeting, we can't do it ourselves. So there are good ideas out there, but if there are good ideas, let's see what we can take from that and bring to us, bring to our city and multiply. So anyway, I really appreciate it. Don't really have a question, but thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Kevin.
Going back to what Monty said about land acknowledgement, I would just love to put it out there as a resource to everybody on this commission and on the city council that the website native-land.ca is a great resource for you to learn what territories you occupy. With a real quick search on that website, I would like to acknowledge that we here in Covington occupy Muckleshoot, Duwamish, and Coast Salish Indigenous land. Also, another great resource to contribute back into the Indigenous communities here, especially the Duwamish tribe. You can Google Real Rent Duwamish to pay rent to the original owners of this land and also help contribute to their efforts to build an equitable space for the people here. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Anybody else have any questions or comments on Celebrate on the goals?
Mayor Wagner, a question, because I haven't really been on Zoom much to the Covington City Council, but the Kent School District now includes a land acknowledgement before every board meeting. Are you guys doing a land acknowledgement at all in prior to or after your Pledge of Allegiance or something at your council meetings? Just curious.
No, we do not.
Have you considered it?
No, I've not even heard of it before.
No.
Will you consider it now?
Something to think about. Yeah.
Yeah. Something to bring forward to a future meeting.
I could do that.
I see that Bronwyn Thomas and David Scalabrini have now joined us. Welcome and thank you for being here tonight. With that, I guess we'll move on to the third commission goal of facilitate. And who is discussing that?
That would be Alex and David.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I've been having some Zoom issues with my my laptop, so I've joined on my phone.
Nope, we can hear you great. Thank you, David.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm glad to be able to get back to you. So Alex and I will be sharing with you some ideas around the commission goal of facilitate, which is dialogue between the community through open discussions and identify common objectives, as Chuck initially indicated. The purpose of this would be to uncover underlying concerns in the community around equality, cultural, and social justice issues, sharing those concerns with the city council, but then also encouraging and facilitating open dialogue amongst the community to help bring about desired results to build a stronger community. We've got just a couple of goals or objectives that we have identified that would fall under the facilitate. And the first one is dealing with the online survey, which I'm going to toss over to Alex, as she has had the most involvement with that out of the two of us.
Thanks, David. And I hope it's okay. I know this is also on our agenda a little bit further down, but we thought it was most relevant to our facilitate goal. So bringing it up. The purpose of a survey to our community would be to understand the current climate in Covington when it comes to equity, culture, and social justice, and to hear from our community members on what actions that they believe the city should take to make Covington a safe and diverse and welcoming place to call home. It kind of goes back to what Monty was saying earlier about we don't want to impose upon our community what we think is the right thing to do. We really want to be in close contact and be hearing from people in the community about what actions they believe we should be taking. So we've drafted a survey. We're sort of, as sorry, I can't remember who said earlier, but we're being entrepreneurs about it, like how we can do it in the for free style. We have like a Google form, and through the survey, we'd want to understand how demographics impact our residents' perception of Covington, collect data that we can use to set a baseline, and then measure progress of the initiatives the committee takes over time, and get some feedback so we can identify a focus area for our group. We're not going to be able to act on every element of social justice all at once, and so we want to collect some feedback about where we should be focusing our energies, and that way maybe we can set like a 12 to 18 month roadmap specific to one focus area, and then move on to different areas. I have a few questions for the City Council related to the survey, if that's all right. We pulled together a couple of questions just while we have your audience for each of the actions that we wanted to discuss related to facilitate, and stop me if I'm taking up too much time.
No, but if the questions are relevant and don't require a decision by the council, then by all means.
Sure, thanks. We had a question just around if we were to do a survey, if you had thoughts about the best way to share it, and if the city has done surveys, like if a fully online survey is possible, or if we really do need to have like a combination of printed options too, to like get the right amount of responses. Just if there's any experience that we can learn from as we plan for this, we'd love to hear.
So we have done surveys in the past, and I know that Carla has been in charge of that. I think Regan would have more information on that as far as doing phone surveys and online.
Yeah, so if you want, if what you're looking for is like a scientifically accurate survey, then they range between about $30,000 and $40,000 to run one in the city of Covington. So they're pretty darn expensive. We did one, it's been several years now, I believe. Is it what, Jeff, 3 or 4 years ago? I believe we did one in the city, and it gathered the information that was pretty on par with the one we had done about 5 years prior. But if that's not the route to pursue, then we do have a lot of other options. You can work with Carla, and Daphne knows Carla well. She's our marketing director with the city and can help really kind of push anything out. We've got thousands and thousands of followers on social media, and you get a lot of responses, which is how we've done some other surveys.
Awesome, that's super helpful, thank you. Do you already have, sorry, so from my maybe the rest of my questions aren't relevant. So from my understanding, past surveys have gone through like a contractor. So
we've done some, they're community-wide surveys like that. And we've also just done our own on social media. They're not, scientifically accurate. We don't necessarily have the exact sample we're looking for, but it gives us good general ideas.
When you do that, do you have a list of like languages that you support, or are there best practices like when we're interacting with the community around language and accessibility?
So that's a really good question. We do have resources to be able to provide the translations that we need. In our public works department, that's where it comes up the most when we do like land notices of land action taking place. I know it's been a couple of years since this came up, and I think the direction from the state is if you have a population of over a certain percentage, then you need to provide the different languages. And Covington didn't have that in any of them, so it's not yet been provided in multiple languages. But there are services out there that provide those translation for us.
Okay, awesome. I think you answered my third question. So I'll just ask David if he has anything to add related to
No,
this.
no, I think that covered everything for that. Thank you.
Anything else you wanted to add, Alex?
If it's okay, we have two other actions we wanted to discuss, and David was going to talk about hosting an open house.
Okay, do you want to do that now or wait until next steps?
If we could, let's just go ahead and run through our three. We have 3 action items, and then each one of them has some questions that we would pose to the council, and then we could get some feedback from that.
Okay. Before we do that, Jennifer, did you have a question about the online survey?
I did just have a comment. Human Services did just do a survey. So you could touch base with them and check in with the process and kind of get their feeling about, you know, how successful were their efforts. I know they did use the data. They presented the data to council and, you know, talk to and also get some feedback from them about how successful was the outreach as well, not just the data itself. And obviously they're super helpful. As you guys know, you have an ex-commission member already at your fingertips, but they did do one after Leslie left the commission very recently, so they could provide some feedback.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, David, or was it Alex for the next step?
I'll be taking the next one, which is, as Alex indicated, was hosting an open house or open houses. The purpose of this would be, part of it would be speaking to what Monty and Leslie were talking about, which is bringing awareness about the existence of the commission and why we exist. It can also be how citizens can play a role as far as in their stepping up and speaking out. It would be an avenue for us to be able to share survey results if the survey is done, as well as solicit input for those who aren't able to participate in a survey. Maybe there are some language barriers or hesitations of people filling things out, or like Monty indicated, maybe they don't have easy access to electronic formats to be able to take part in a survey. So it'd be a way for them to give input as well. And then we can discuss and encourage on other things to do. What can we address? And that would be able to facilitate what we're trying to do with the commission. So some questions that we would pose to the council as far as for some feedback would be, how do you see, based on where things stand currently and projected with the COVID crisis, what kind of restrictions would we be looking at as far as in-person versus virtual or a mixed hybrid format? Other things such as special considerations that would need to be taken. Obviously, if it's in person, there would need to be for physically handicapped, but is there also translation services that the council has done at any of their at any of your meetings? Do you have translation services for other languages or sign language for ASL, things like that, that we would need to take into consideration?
So as far as getting together and stuff, we have it on our council agenda tonight to discuss future meetings as far as virtual versus in person, or if there's a hybrid. So council has not discussed that yet. And I know that once council moves forward with that decision, then commissions will follow shortly after. And as far as going with different languages and stuff at our council meetings, as far as ASL and others, we have not provided those interpretations during council meetings, as we've not had anybody request them. And I'm not sure if we even have any availability to do that. And I am not sure if we've had that at any of our open houses. I don't remember having that available. But that's been 20 years. I can't remember all of them. Regan, do you know if we've provided any of that? I don't believe we have.
No, we've not provided the translation services at public meeting yet.
Okay, thank you.
Alex, is there anything else that you can think of that I may have forgotten?
No.
I know that after we have our discussion tonight, I know that Regan will be passing it on, whatever decision, if a decision is made tonight about meetings for virtual and versus in person, that will be passed on to commissions later on in the coming months for that, as to how that will be moved forward.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mayor.
You bet. Our pleasure. Anything else? Did you have one more thing you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, Alex was going to talk about a community leader group.
Yeah, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was putting together a group of community leaders, the people that are, you know, most frequently interacting with the most people in Covington, so we can get more perspective on the work we should be doing and have like an open dialogue between those leaders. We haven't really figured out what exactly that would look like, but you know, we have some ideas on the type of people we want to talk to, you know, obviously political, but also religious leaders, business owners, you know, people who do a lot of volunteer work in our community or in the PTA. We talked about like not reinventing the wheel. There are a lot of other commissions, obviously in the neighboring cities that do similar work, and we want to hear from them on the work they're doing and what they're learning. So through that, like, we'd love to know from you all if there's something that already exists, like if you already are tracking some sort of list of people that you frequently go to for feedback, who are interacting with a lot of people in the community, or if not, if you have any ideas about like the best way to facilitate something like that.
I think that's an awesome idea about getting a group of people together. I meet with a lot of different people throughout, not just the community, but everywhere across the region with other mayors, other groups. I believe there's the pastors in Covington used to get together. I'm not sure if they still do, that would speak. And I know that there's some nonprofits like through SKIP and some of the other organizations that get together on a regular basis to talk. But I'll also look for input. Monty?
I was just going to add, I think, Alex, thank you, and David, thank you for doing tremendous work and, you know, talking about each step. I think this just like, and this is me personally, Monty, is just being a citizen right now. Wow, I just came up with 15 other goals just within this meeting. Like, do we have translation services? We don't. Okay, let's see how we can do that. Or do we have a list of leaders we go to? We don't. Okay, can we come up with that? So I think this is lovely, because this is like, we didn't know that this doesn't exist. And you know, even though we want bigger things, we may or may not get to, you know, the survey or what have you within the next 5 months, but maybe we can take those very small steps to even just say, yes, these things do exist. And Regan, this is how we do it. I just picking on you, Regan.
Thanks, Monty. Leslie?
Thank you, Mayor Wagner. Just piggybacking on the idea of having kind of a summit on equity, I think more important even than people who are strong volunteers or church leaders or anything, it's leaders of communities that are not really represented at the normal table. If we can find, and that's not usually a formal position, it's like, who in this group is the one, if there's something that's going wrong, that comes forward and tries to make a right, either in, we have a large Hispanic community here, some other communities, but who are the people in those groups that can get the message back to all their people that they trust to come and represent them? I think we don't, I would imagine we don't have that kind of a list, but in an equity and Culture and Social Justice Commission. I think that kind of people at the table would be imperative because they're not normally at the table.
Thank you, Leslie. Anybody else? Comment or question on that? All right, definitely like to hear more information on that as you bring it back, Alex. That sounds like a great idea. Moving forward to the next commission goal to serve, who would be discussing that?
That is myself, and I'm going to be joined by Kevin.
Great.
So let me start out this way. Kevin and I had a mini meeting the other day to discuss what we wanted to talk about service. To serve the community, we really have to become part of that community. And we want to throw out some ideas to you, which kind of takes us right into next steps of things that we think are important to get done, like going door to door to all of our locally owned retail places and telling them that we exist and finding out who their leaders are. Religious organizations, maybe we go to church services and ask to speak on behalf of the city if it's approved by the city. One of the things that personally I found distressing is that there's really no vehicle easily for disabled people. So we've got to learn how to reach out to them. The ethnic groups and to the seniors, who most of them are not computer literate enough to look to the website. The only way that we can serve the community and to serve the council is to become that vehicle. Kevin is going to talk a little bit about how we get some of the youth involved.
All right, so yes, and facilitate and serve, the two goals go a lot of it really hand in hand. And so to be present within the community and to develop connections and relationships with our neighbors, particularly the youth, a great way for us to be present there would to have a table set up maybe within high schools, also in stores and in high foot traffic areas where youth tend to be present. As a recent graduate from Kentwood High School, we'd see a flood of tables at lunchtime very often, and they would provide a lot of different resources for, finding your first job, also what are you gonna do after high school, and also great ways to put input on better ways the school could better serve us as students. So it would be a great way for us to be present there and ask the community and you specifically how they would like for us to do things for them.
It would also help to encourage our youth to become involved in the government and in the community.
Love that idea. Does anyone have any questions or comments they'd like to add to that? Beth?
Yeah, I just have a couple of suggestions, and this will obviously need to be vetted through the city, but I'm wondering if maybe as a city we have a volunteer day where we have, I don't know, whether it be a food drive or some kind of a drive, but each commission can staff a table at a particular business. We've done plenty of these at like Safeway and so forth, and there's a ton of people walking in and out of there, and what a great way to say, hey, this commission is new, we're sponsoring this, fill in the blank drive or some kind of an event. And the other opportunity I was thinking is that some of the apartment complexes around, I don't know, some of them do actually have like social programs and things like that they offer for their residents, and a lot of them may fall into the category, the demographic there, that it might be a great way to get additional applicants for the commissions or just get the word out. Just a few thoughts.
Thank you, Beth. Kevin?
That's definitely something that Chuck and I have discussed. So I'm glad that we're all grooving on the same wavelength to definitely have a flyer put out. That's something that's easily accessible, also in multiple languages, and having multiple languages on a flyer is a lot easier than having a translator in person at meetings. Also, yes, being present at any kind of grocery stores. I myself work at a grocery store, and that is a great way for me to kind of ground myself in community needs. And I talk to a lot of different people with a lot of different views. And I feel like even though it is my occupation, it's a great way for me to get just a vibe of what everyone else around me feels and thinks. Also, Chuck and I talked about wanting to go out to businesses just on foot and talking to business owners and see how they feel about the community and everything they want to say about what's happening around them.
Thank you, Kevin. Chuck?
You know, when I first joined the commission and we started to exchange our addresses, I sat down and mapped out where everybody lived just to see that we had representation. And I must say, we are missing some people. There's a whole group in the southwest corner of the city, and we have no representation there. We have a group of fairly liberal, open-minded people having discussions. We need to also include those people that are not as open-minded, because their voice needs to be heard just as well as ours. So any thoughts on how do we get somebody involved from a less active community?
That is something that we've been discussing for decades, trying to get more and more people involved. And it's just getting out there and being in front, especially during Covington days. And I like your idea of being involved at when we do nonprofit groups that Beth brought up. That would be another great way to get more people involved. Sean?
Yeah, thanks. A couple thoughts on that. So HOAs usually have at least once a year annual meeting, and I would, and they're often looking for speakers, and so encourage you to try and get on those. Specifically, if there are sections of the community that aren't being represented on the commission. I would also go to, and try and get on or provide comments at every one of our commission meetings too. Can go and talk to them also. Thinking like CEDIS and things like that would be a good one to provide comments on and say, we're looking for representation on our commission as well. So those are just two ideas that I have.
Thanks, Sean. We're running out of time, so one more comment, David.
Yeah, I was just going to emphasize that, number one, I am a proud, moderate independent who engages in great dialogue with both the members on the far left as well as the far right. And the one thing that I have always been an advocate about, and I believe I mentioned it during my interview with the council and you, Mr. Mayor, was that that we have to make sure that we have people understanding that we validate that we're hearing what their concerns are. People want to be heard. So just reaching out isn't enough. We have to let them know that we want to hear from them regardless of what their beliefs are, because that's the only way that we can educate and resolve differences and build a stronger community.
Thank you, David. I hate to say that we're run out of time because I've really enjoyed our meeting today. Just one word is wow. I am very impressed with the work that each of you have accomplished so far. And that mission statement is something that I am going to, just to empower a community of diversity, equity, fairness, inclusion, and respect for all. And the commission will advise the city council in creating avenues for actionable changes in policies and services. I am really impressed that you each have worked together to come up with that. That is for lack of a better word, but awesome. So thank you Thank you for all the work, and I wish we had another hour to continue talking about this. So I look forward to our next meeting whenever we can get that scheduled, and I want to thank each of you again for all that you've done. So thank you. Chuck, real quick.
Feel free to join us at any one of our meetings, Mr. Mayor.
Well, unfortunately, councils are not allowed to join commission meetings. Yeah, but yeah, I would love to, but I'm always happy to sit down and talk to each of you individually or as a small group. So at any time, but thank you again, each of you tonight for joining us. And thank you again for all of your hard work that you are doing on the Equity, Cultural, and Social Justice Commission. I hope that you each have a great evening, and I look forward to our next meeting. Thank you again, and have a great evening.
Thank you.